In today's Madden 24 video, I'm about to break down the secret adjustment that you need to use to play perfect coverage on defense. Now, if you're tired of getting beat over the top for big plays on streaks, corners, crossers, or just having busted coverages, then this is the video for you. Looking for coins for MUT24? EasyMUT.com is the cheapest and most reliable coins on the market. Click the link in the description and use code SG for 10% off your order. Because I promise you, after watching this video, this will solve all of your problems and you will get a lot more stops on defense. Now, what I'm about to show you, this is really nice because it can be used from really any defensive playbook or formation. I typically use either multiple or 4-6. In this video, I'm in 4-6. The other good thing about this is it works in man and zone, and you don't need the best players to do this with. It works even against the fastest receivers and best quarterbacks. So we're going to get straight into this. For this example, I'm going to look at dollar. Again, you could use any formation or any defensive playbook. We're going to first look at man-to-man coverage, how to utilize this in man. I will also show you guys how this works in zone. So make sure you stay tuned throughout the whole video because I'm going to show you first how to stop streaks out of man. Then we're going to focus on how you can stop streaks, corners, and crossers out of zone. So whether you use man defense or zone defense, we're going to have tips for you. Now, if you want more high-level Madden content like this, if you enjoy this type of high-level Madden gameplay and tips, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Drop me a like, comment on the video. I really do appreciate all the support. And if you guys like to play daily fantasy sports, I am partnered with Thrive Fantasy. They're the best daily fantasy sports site. You can click the link in my comments in my description. Use code DUKE and you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $250, which is the best offer of the year. Thrive Fantasy is legit and the place to be. Now, let's get into how we can utilize this tip to stop streaks when we're in man coverage. Now, there's a few mistakes people are making. Most people believe that if you press your coverage, you can shade your coverage over the top, and because you won't actually get a press animation, you won't get beat deep. This is definitely not true. The reason why this is not true is this year shading over the top actually does not work very well at all. I feel like when you shade over the top, and I've noticed this lately, half the time your dudes just give up free releases. Now, the other problem with this is most people run bunched or tight formations on offense. And in these formations, offensively, a lot of the times your DBs, they just play terrible off the press. And you're going to see exactly what I mean here in this example. Now, here's our press man coverage. We've shaded over the top. Most people would think, hey, I'm safe now. We're not going to get beat deep. Now, offensively, I'm just going to run a very common concept. We're going to run like a flood, right? We have a corner or an out, attacking the sideline. A quick flat, a streak, right? Very common from a bunch or tight formation. You'll see this type of stuff a lot. Now, what's going to end up happening here is two things. When you shade over the top, they give up really free releases. The second thing is, and you don't see this every single time, but you'll see a lot of like just bumps and rubs in man coverage this year. So if you guys see exactly what I just said would happen, happened. Number one, if we take a look at the replay, when we shaded over the top, our DB he gave up the release way too easily. Number two is this coverage just got bumped off the route. And this is what happens this year in tight end bunch formations. So why everybody is running them is when you have man-to-man coverage this year against these formations and you have a simple route combo like this with a route breaking to the sideline, streak over the top. When you get these two-man defenders right, in the same area, pretty often, damn near every time, honestly, if you know what you're doing on offense, you can make this happen almost every time. They just bump into each other. And what happens is when they bump into each other, the streak route, as you guys can see, first of all, the streak route already is going to gain separation, and we can pass lead it. But once they bump into each other, what turns into a route that's sort of open that I need a pass lead for a touchdown, I mean, now there's no one even close to him because, again, the two defenders bump into each other. We're giving up free touchdowns. So, I don't even have that fast of a receiver here. I mean, he's reasonable speed. But imagine if that's Ty Hill, man. You're going to give up the freest of free touchdowns if you don't know what you're doing. And most players have no idea why this happens. So how can we fix this so we don't have to worry about giving up touchdowns? Now, obviously, you could say, oh, well, just play with your safeties over the top. That works pretty good, but not even all the time. But we don't want to have to play like that anyways. We want to blitz because on this year's game, if you don't get pressure, you don't get stops. So the best way to utilize man coverage without having to worry about that type of stuff happening. Do you want to become a better Madden player and win more games? If so, check out my premium Madden strategy website, sportsgamers.com. I've built sportsgamers.com to provide you with the best Madden tips, best Madden ebooks and schemes, all from the pros at the lowest price possible. I have helped thousands upon thousands of Madden players improve their games, and I can help you as well. Our VIP Madden membership is our best offer yet. This membership will include all of our Madden ebooks all year long and hundreds of weekly Madden Vault tip updates to keep you ahead of the game. Click the link in the description and use coupon code DUKE for 10% off your order. Is to individually back up your outside corners. Not your whole secondary, just your outside corners. Not your slots, just your outside corners. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of questions. Well, how do you just back up your outside corners and not the whole secondary? How do you keep the slots pressed, right? It's an individual coverage adjustment, and I've actually gone over it in some of my videos before, but I want to show you guys. So what you're going to do is, if you want to back up the left and right outside corners, is first of all, you hit coverage audible. That's either triangle or Y. It's triangle on PlayStation, Y on Xbox. Once you do that, I want you guys to look at that bottom left-hand corner. You see there's an individual button. Hit the icon for that. In my case, that's X. Now you want to basically see who is the furthest outside receiver or tight end on the side I want to back my coverage up. So, if I want to back my coverage up on the right, you guys see first outside receiver, his icon is circle. I hit his icon. Then I flick up on the right analog stick, and that corner backs up by himself. I don't have to click on it to do it. I can be on whoever I'm going to use her, so I can't get quick snapped, and I can do it. Now, if I want to say do the one on the left, same thing. Hit triangle Y, coverage audible, X for your individual button. Now, his icon is square, so I hit square, flick up on the right stick, backed up. Now, if you're a newer player, maybe that sounds intimidating or hard to do. It's not. I promise you, if you get in practice mode for 5 or 10 minutes, just get it down to where that's muscle memory, you can do that in a split second. If I'm in man coverage and I'm playing a game, every play, I'm backing my corners up every single time. And I can back both of my corners up in this exact defense before the offense even can get to the line and make one hot route. So I'm never going to get quick snapped. So if you think this is hard to set up, you need to get better. Unless you just want to keep losing games, which at that point, keep losing games. But if you want to get better, this is what you need to do. So I'm going to run the exact same defense, the exact same play offensively, and let's see what happens. So you guys see, same play, same defense. This time I backed up my corners. Now, I want you guys to notice what happens here. Because my corners are backed up, that rub doesn't even it doesn't even present itself. My DB is in perfect position. So you guys can see here, I was trying to wait a little bit longer to try to throw the ball because I didn't get that separation. The pick, bumping into each other, rub route, whatever you want to call it, simply did not happen. You guys can see here, the DBs don't run into each other. They don't bump. So there's no crazy separation. There's actually no separation. My DB's ahead of the receiver now because he was backed up. And I didn't shade over the top. Never shade over the top. I promise you guys, it doesn't work good. No separation. So I was trying to wait a little bit longer. Ended up getting hit as I was throwing the ball. But you guys see, this is not open. We can't complete this. Now, the other tip I have for you guys is if people are going to chuck these routes on you anyways, go for the swat. Unless you have pick artists. If you have pick artists, okay, fine, go for the pick. But if not, go for the swat. I can't tell you guys how many times I've not gone for the swat and gotten burned this year. So practice going for swats unless you're a pick artist. At that point, yes, you can go for the pick. But if not, you need to swat the ball down. So that's tip number 1, man coverage. Now, what about zone? Zone, you need to utilize this too, but for different reasons. Now, in zone, people can beat you over the top of streak routes, don't get me wrong. But more commonly, what people are doing against zone is they're beating you over the top of corners and crossers. So they're getting in, again, these bunch and tight formations. They're the best formations this year. And they're running crossers and corners, and they're just sprinting by your DBs. And oftentimes players wonder, why is this happening? I have a deep zone over there. Or I zone drop my flat zone. So here, my flat zones are actually zone dropped to 30 yards. And the average player is okay, I have a 30-yard flat. He shouldn't let a corner out beat him. And the thing is unless you know how to use your adjustments, you're still going to give those up. So here, as you see, I easily gave that up. So that corner, or if I had a crosser, same thing would happen. Over the top. How can we stop this from zone? We put it on base, and just period. And if you have your alignment on base, your outside corners are going to line up to the sideline. So you guys can see here, instead of my outside corners being lined up directly over the receivers as they just were, they're lined up to the sideline. Now, this is important because in zone, people try to get in these bunch of type formations and run streak corner or streak crosser concepts, and they're attacking the sidelines. So if you have your zones just lined up directly over the receivers and not lined up to the sidelines anyways, even if you do everything else right, they're just not going to get out to the sidelines in time. They're just not going to happen. The coverage is just not that great. So you have to do a lot of things to make them play the way they're supposed to. So that's step one. Make sure they're in base alignment. Step two, once you press, very similar to what we just did in man, you have to individually back up your corners. So to do this, again, it's the same thing. You hit coverage audible, which is going to be triangle or Y, individual, which is X, then the icon of the furthest receiver outside to the sideline on the side you want to back up your corner. So in this case, I want to back up the one on the left of the screen. His icon square. I flick up on the right stick. Now you might say to yourself, how do you know which corner to back up when you're in zone? It's pretty obvious. So most people are running buncher type formations because they know on the short side of the field, they can have a streak corner or streak crosser going to the short side. It will always get open, right? Now, can't really do that as easily to the wide side. So typically, I only back up the corner on the short side of the field when I'm going up against these offenses. Now you're probably wondering, some of you maybe at least, well, what is the short side? Some of you might know this, but if you don't, you just look at where the ball's lined up compared to the hashes. So here we see the ball's lined up closest to the left hash. And if you just look at the field, it's clear the ball is closest to the left sideline. That means the left side of the field is the short side, so we back up that outside left corner. So if I try to do the same exact route combo, same exact play, it's no longer going to work. You guys can see that because I zone dropped my zone, base line, and individually backed it up, it's there for a free pick, breakup, defense, whatever you want to call it. It's good D. So we can use this tip to lock up every annoying big route combo in the game in both man and zone. It's going to make your defense a lot better. You're going to stop giving up big plays. You'll be able to get some stops. So if you enjoyed this video, if it helped you out, please make sure you smash that like button. Until next time, it's your boy Duke, and I'm out of here.